Alright, let's get straight to it, because phew, this one's a mess. No long intro, no warm-up, just pure chaos. If you thought Drake's streaming dominance was untouchable, think again. Billions, and yes, billions of those plays might have been faker than a PR smile. So, Drake fans, maybe sit this one out. The tea's boiling, and it's not pretty. So, let's say it loud, Aubrey. Champagne Poppy. Mr. Numbers don't lie. Well, turns out, they just might. Drake's in hot water, and this time it's not over a subliminal diss or shady lyric. Nope, this one's legal. A massive lawsuit. And while Spotify's the one officially on the chopping block, guess whose face is plastered all over the scandal? Yeah, the Six God himself. His catalog. His stats. His empire of streams, and apparently, a whole lot of them weren't real. We're not talking a few sketchy plays, either. The lawsuit claims billions, with a B, of fraudulent streams across Drake's music. Billions. So if you're ready to see how the self-proclaimed king of streams might have built his throne on bots and smoke, grab a snack. Because after years of shading Kendrick for fake streams, this twist hits different. Kendrick literally warned us. Remember when he said, "Conspiracy theories is given, but I must admit it, you got the wrong person?" Looks like he wasn't lying, because all those accusations Drake fans threw at others? Yeah, they're boomeranging right back. This could be the moment that completely wrecks Drake's image and drags the whole streaming industry with him. The numbers, the plaques, the bragging rights, suddenly, it's all looking like a house of cards. And guess who's standing in the middle of the mess? Mr. OVO himself. Earlier today, Rolling Stone dropped a bombshell report. The headline alone had the internet gasping, a full-blown class action lawsuit accusing Spotify of enabling billions of fake streams. And whose face do they use to sell the story? Of course, Drake. Our favorite Toronto sweetheart, looking calm courtside at the World Series while chaos brews behind the scenes. But the details? Oh, they're embarrassing. This isn't just bad PR, it cuts right at the core of Drake's entire brand. His whole image is built on dominance, on numbers, on being the biggest artist in the world. But if those numbers were juiced? That changes everything. For OVO, for his legacy, for every fan who proudly tweeted Spotify King. Nessie doesn't even begin to cover it. And here's where it gets even juicier, the man leading this lawsuit? None other than RBX. Yup, that RBX. Snoop Dogg's cousin, Dr. Dre's longtime collaborator, a West Coast legend who helped shape hip-hop history. This isn't some random name looking for clout, this is a man with stripes. If he's calling foul, the culture listens. According to RBX's claim, Spotify's been letting billions of fake streams flood the platform every single month through bots, dummy accounts, and straight-up shady tactics. The issue? Spotify pays out royalties using a stream share model. Basically, the more streams you've got, the bigger your slice of the money pie. So if Drake's pulling fake numbers, smaller artists are getting robbed, literally losing cash and visibility to bot farms. And here's the kicker, the lawsuit says Spotify either knows or should know that a non-trivial percentage of Drake's whopping 37 billion streams are fake. Think about that. 37 billion streams, and even a fraction of that being fake is mind-blowing. The irony writes itself. After years of Drake's camp throwing shade, the receipts are back and they're nasty. All those moments of doing it for the culture? Yeah, not aging so gracefully now. Because at the end of the day, if anyone was inflating numbers, it wasn't the culture, it was Drake's ego, and that stream count. Here we go again, because somehow, someway, Drake always ends up smack in the middle of another mess. And this time? It's not about sneak disses or rap beefs, it's about straight-up manipulation on a global scale. The lawsuit's basically screaming that Drake's whole empire might have been built on smoke, mirrors, and a sea of fake streams. Translation, while smaller artists are out here hustling for real plays just to pay rent, Drake's been swimming in money from streams that might not even exist. So let's just retire that Drake is for the culture talk right now. For the people? For the artists? Please. This right here shows the opposite. If anything, he's been gaming the same system he pretends to defend. And honestly, every new detail makes the story sound worse by the minute. Now here's where it gets messy. According to the lawsuit, investigators found abnormal VPN activity covering up the real sources of bot streams. In plain English, somebody went full Mission Impossible to hide their tracks. Over just 4 days in 2024, about 250,000 streams of Drake's track No Face supposedly came from Turkey but were disguised as plays from the UK through VPNs. Yep, Turkey, the same country that's been popping up in fake stream conspiracy talk for years. And the funniest part? Remember when Drake stan swore it was Kendrick running fake overseas numbers? Kendrick literally warned everyone, conspiracy theories is given, but I must admit it, you got the wrong person. Well, he wasn't lying. Because while the internet was dragging Kendrick, Drake was allegedly out here hiding behind Turkish IPs, cooking up a global streaming scam. The irony is poetic. But wait, it actually gets dumber. The suit claims a lot of these so-called Drake listeners came from regions that don't even have people living there. No homes. No residents. Just bots. So not only were these streams fake, they were badly fake. Like, if you're gonna cheat the system, at least make it look good. Drake's team apparently forgot that even bots need believable addresses. And it doesn't stop there. The lawsuit says Drake's songs have shown suspicious streaming patterns months, sometimes years, after release. Random spikes, endless activity, and streams that never dip. Basically, his catalog is acting less like a fanbase and more like a machine, because, well, maybe it is one. Some accounts were even clocked streaming Drake's music for 23 hours straight. Non-stop. No breaks. No sleep. Not devotion, that's a data center. And here's the wildest stat of all, less than 2% of those accounts listen to anyone else. That's not loyalty. That's straight algorithmic trickery. When Rolling Stone reached out to Drake's camp for comment, they predictably went silent. Because let's be real, when do they ever face the smoke head-on? Never. They let chaos cook online until it cools off. But this one? It's not cooling down anytime soon. Because if these allegations hold weight, if investigators really uncover the full scope, this isn't just a Drake scandal. This could rattle the entire music industry. Imagine finding out that the last 4 or 5 years of Drake domination might have been artificial. And if you think back, it kinda tracks. Around the mid-2020s, the hits weren't hitting like before. The music felt off. The energy didn't match the hype. Yet somehow, he stayed on top. Well, now we might know why. By 2022 and 2023, Drake's music already felt like a parody of his old self, flashy but empty. And if what this lawsuit is saying is true, that hollowness makes perfect sense. The numbers were never real. They were manufactured to keep up the illusion that he still ran the game. Now, let's be fair, Drake's not the only one milking this broken system. Labels, execs, even other artists are probably playing the same rigged game. But Drake? He's the face of it. The poster boy for an era built on inflated stats, fake dominance, and pure delusion. So yeah, if even a fraction of this lawsuit checks out, let's just call it what it is, Drake probably did it. You know what's crazy? The deeper this story goes, the clearer it gets, Drake didn't just benefit from the machine. He was the machine. Every smirk, every "I'm untouchable" moment during that beef suddenly clicks. He acted like the rules didn't apply to him because, honestly, maybe they didn't. When you've got a system built to protect you, you can walk into chaos loud and cocky, and still walk out looking like the victim. And now, looking back at that first Not Like Us lawsuit? The signs were all there. Drake talked way too comfortably about industry tricks, royalties, manipulation. It didn't sound like commentary, it sounded like confession. Like he wasn't exposing anyone else's tactics, he was describing his own. Because at this point, the pattern is undeniable. Drake hasn't just tarnished his own name, he's been dragging the culture down with him, brick by brick. And lately? You can feel the desperation seeping through. Between the Aiden Ross drama and Drake obsessing over a lawsuit that's already been dismissed, the energy's off. He's fighting ghosts, arguing with headlines, and clinging to control that slipped away months ago. It's giving panic. The walls are closing in on someone who once thought he could pull every string in the industry. Because that's what Drake became, the face of the algorithm era. The polished, numbers-driven golden boy who turned music into a scoreboard. But here's the twist, the same machine he mastered might be the one that finally eats him alive. If this lawsuit keeps building momentum, the entire playbook that made him untouchable could turn into the evidence that exposes him. But let's be real, Drake's not alone in this mess. He's just the biggest name, the flashiest distraction. Behind him? A whole ecosystem of execs, label heads, and other artists who've been playing the same dirty game, rigging stats, boosting streams, cashing in while actual creatives starve for real recognition. Drake just happens to be the face on the poster. It's the same story we've seen in other industries. Remember that NBA scandal? Johnny Bowes, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones caught tweaking stats, fixing numbers, manipulating outcomes. This is the music version of that. And like always, when the curtain falls, the system picks one person to take the hit. Drake just drew the short straw. And honestly, there's a weird kind of poetry in that. For over a decade, Drake's been the industry's chosen one, the label darling, the chart manipulator, the guy who could do no wrong. And now, that same title might be what gets him burned. Because let's not pretend other megastars don't have the same suspicious streams, mystery playlist boosts, and record-breaking numbers that never match their actual cultural impact. Everyone's been side-eyeing those inflated stats for years. Even think back to the leaked call between Young Thug's team and the streaming plug. They joked about calling someone to adjust the numbers after Gunna passed the weekend. That's how normalized this game is. Everyone's been in on it. Drake just happened to play it the loudest. So if this really is the start of a cleanup? Then yeah, it makes sense it starts with him. Drake's been the symbol of everything broken about modern music: fake dominance, lazy formula hits, and an obsession with numbers over impact. If this lawsuit is what finally tears the curtain down, it's poetic justice. Because when the sixth god falls, the whole temple shakes with him. But here's the real question: was Drake just the scapegoat? Or is this karma finally catching up? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like the so-called king of streams is drowning in the very numbers he built his empire on. And trust me, it gets worse. Because if you thought this fake stream scandal was wild, wait till you see how that embarrassing World Series moment just made everything 10 times worse. Stick around, Cupcake's crumble is far from over.